Hey friends, it's Rich. Just wanted to let you know a couple of things. First of all, welcome back to Not Suitable for Adults. That's mainly for us because we know we've been out for a bit. Think of this as the unofficial beginning of season 2. We'll never talk about season 2 again, but we took a break for the winter, the beginning of the winter, 2021 into 2022, and now we're back. So we're going to be talking about a couple of cool things. But you're going to hear some things here at the beginning, especially of this episode, that we're really excited about that happened around Thanksgiving, which now is like 2.5 months ago. So just understand, we recorded this as the first part of a 2-parter, and we didn't have a chance to record the second episode until recently, and so we're releasing them now. So thanks for understanding. Oh man, can't wait to talk to you about this here in just a second in the past. Okay, bye. Welcome to Not Suitable for Adults, the podcast where two parents who, at this point, really feel like they've seen everything.
You think
tell you if the stuff that they made for a kid is good or not for everyone.
Honestly, I am pretty constantly surprised that how many things there are.
Yeah, I do too. I don't really think that I've seen everything, but gosh, there are times when we're trying to find something to watch where it really feels like we've seen everything.
Yeah. I'm hearing a high-pitched. There it is. In my ear.
I want to leave this in.
Okay. Don't do it, please.
I might, if it's okay with you, I might leave it in.
I had to find it. There it is.
It's in there, but it'll come out in post.
Great. Okay. I'm just hearing it. I just wanted to make sure we had that.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay.
All right. I'm Rich.
I'm Natalie, and the amazing singer Natalie.
Yeah. I mean, you matched it. You got it. I can hear it too, and you hit the pitch.
Thank you.
All right. So we have an overarching big thing that we're going to talk about in the first and second half of this one.
Right.
Because we went on a little bit of a
binge.
Kind of a binge of these 3 movies.
A binge of love.
A love binge.
Gross.
Not suitable.
Gross.
That's not what we're talking about. No, but we decided the other, I guess we were on kind of
it was like last week.
Oh, it was around fall break, wasn't it? Was it around Cora's fall break?
No,
At
dude.
some
it was
point
just
we found
last
ourselves
week.
with a bunch of time.
It was just last week.
And we're like, should we watch these movies? And we did. We watched them all and we had a great time.
Yeah.
And they're family movies.
Yeah.
And so we're going to talk about those in a second.
We'll get those in a second.
Super secret.
Mm-hmm.
But first we want to talk about a different, very cool thing.
Yes.
Natalie, go for it.
Yeah. So really quickly, this is sort of a show. So you can find them on YouTube Kids or YouTube.
It's like a web series kind of.
It's Cosmic Kids Yoga.
Yeah.
And Cora loves it.
Yep.
Whenever she says, "Hey mom, I want to do some yoga," this is what I put on.
And can we just ruminate? Can we just absorb the world that we live in? That there's never been a time before now when a 5-year-old would say,
"Can I do yoga?"
"Hey mom, I want to do some yoga."
Yeah.
That's the world we live in.
They make it fun for them.
Super fun.
Okay. So, let me tell you about Cosmic Kids Yoga, how it started. Jamie, how would you say her last name? Amor?
It's
Jamie
Amor or Amor or Amor.
She just goes by like Jamie,
Jamie
on the channel. She went to like acting school for a time. And when she was in acting school, she did a lot of kids parties and just was like a storyteller at kids parties. She realized when she was doing those kids parties that kids like to move.
Sure.
And any of us that have kids know, like, there is usually not a lot of still time.
Yeah, if you want to try and get them sitting down and still and listen to a story, it's hard to do.
Very hard to do. And I commend elementary school teachers.
Yeah, for sure.
I studied to become an elementary school teacher.
Yeah.
And I realized in my senior year, nope.
Yeah.
This is really hard. It is very hard.
Yeah.
And so, like, Cora's her kindergarten teacher right now has my utmost support and respect because I know exactly what she's going through and it is so hard.
For sure.
So what she started to do at these parties was to introduce different movements during her storytelling.
Yeah.
She also got herself certified in adult yoga and kids yoga. And those are called, she is a qualified adult yoga teacher and a registered children's yoga teacher, which those of you that are into yoga and the certifications know what that means. I don't.
She's a yogi.
She does yoga. So in 2010, she started going around to schools. So she's English. She
British.
grew up, British.
Yeah.
She grew up in Reading, which it looks like reading to me, but it's actually pronounced Reading, right?
I'm pretty sure that. I mean, I know that the New England version of that city is called Reading, so I assume that it's the same. Okay,
yikes, Jamie. Sorry if we're just butchering it.
By the way, we're gonna tag Cosmic Kids Yoga and
we'll see. I'll tell them about that. I'll tell them about that. She grew up in Reading, England. She studied acting in Bristol. And then in 2010, she started teaching in schools and in her local area. She started teaching, doing this storytelling and along with yoga. And then in 2012, Martin, who is her husband, said, hey, let's video this. Let's video this, film some of it, put it on YouTube so maybe other kids around the world would be interested in listening to your stories while they're doing yoga. Now, her videos have tens of millions of views.
Yeah.
Like 50 million or more views on her YouTube channel.
Yeah.
So I'm going to try to describe kind of what she does. She may take a subject like Halloween or My Little Pony or Trolls or Frozen, and she'll tell a story the whole time she's telling a story, and she'll go, and then the bad witch came up to the children, and she'll go, okay, let's get into witch pose. And she'll do a pose that we as adults who have done yoga will know as tree pose.
I just
or
want to
something
be
like
so
that.
clear that when Natalie says we adults who might know yoga things, she's not including me. She's not saying that we as a family do yoga. This is not something that has caught on for Rich. But Natalie has done a lot of yoga, and what she's saying is the broader adult yoga audience and not this family.
Right. Rich does not do yoga. I do, however, do yoga.
Right.
So when people tell me different poses, I usually know what that means.
Yeah.
So she will take a pose like, again, those adults that know yoga will take a pose like tree pose or a pose like snake pose. Like, she really condenses them down into words that kids would use rather she'll call them witch pose, or she'll call it she'll just add like a little storytelling flair. So like it'll be
it'll be the pose, and then she'll do something with her hands to make it like it'll some sort of modification that makes it feel like it's part of the story.
So it's like the kids they're making movements that are a part of the story.
Yeah.
And then by the end of the story, you don't realize, because I have done some of these with Cora, and they are actually a pretty good workout.
Mm-hmm.
And adults can kind of amp it up for themselves a little bit. If you're really wanting to try to get a good yoga workout in, you can amp it up. If you know yoga, you can add your own modifications and stuff like that. But she moves a lot. And these kids, Cora always wants me to put her yoga mat out, and she will follow along with it, and she's moving the whole time and hearing a story. Also, Jamie is just, the way she speaks is so clear for a kid. It's so clear the way she storytells. The way she tells a story,
there you go,
is entertaining.
Yeah.
And also she's doing it usually with some sort of like virtual background or that goes along with the story. And a lot of times she dresses in a way that pertains to that story. She usually always has a blue sweatsuit type thing on, so that you can pick her out from anywhere. She has a huge following on YouTube. She does her own, I believe, Instagram stories and stuff like that. She there's never anything that happens on this channel that I feel like I should supervise, if that makes sense.
It's incredibly safe.
It's incredibly safe.
Yeah.
Also, Jamie as a person seems like a lovely human being.
Absolutely.
Do you want to tell the story
Sure.
now?
So we come across this still from time to time, and if you have very young kids, you may have seen this in the age that we live in now. It's hard for them to understand, even where she is, where she's 5.5, and she's beginning to understand the way the world works more. But it's hard for her to understand sometimes that these people who she can see on the screen are not people she can directly interact with.
Right.
We encountered this a while back. I think we talked about it with Ryan.
I think she was probably 3 or going on 4 when she realized I could not call Ryan.
Yeah, she was devastated. She was like, why would we?
She had a terrible, terrible day because she was like, but mommy, Ryan is somebody I'd love to watch. I would like to be his friend. Please call him. And I could not explain to her more. I cannot.
Right. And we had to tell her, there's nothing we can do to contact Ryan.
Right.
We don't have a way to contact Ryan. But she said, I want to tell, something happened on one of the videos, Jamie had said, you can send me a message at so-and-so. She had given her social media stuff. And so Cora was like, Mommy, Daddy, I want to send a message to Jamie and tell her hi so that she'll know that I like doing yoga with her. And I was like, okay. So
Rich is the only one in this family that does Twitter.
Yeah.
I don't do Twitter. If I want to tweet anything, I tell Rich to do it from our podcast Twitter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, I probably can send a message to Jamie. And I was just like, listen, she gets so many messages. She may not reply to us, so we may not know it, but I can definitely send her a message and just tell her that you like the show, because she'd also seen that we had just watched the new My Little Pony, and there was Jamie was going to do a new set that was based around the new My Little Pony movie,
right?
And Cora really likes the Frozen stuff that she does. She has several Frozen videos. And so I was like, I will send it, but I wanted to set her expectation. And so I tweeted at Jamie at the Cosmic Kids Yoga Twitter account, and I just said, "Hey, Jamie, I don't know if you are going to get this or not, but I just wanted you to know that we have a daughter who loves what you do. She wanted to say hi, and she wanted to tell you that she is looking forward to doing the new My Little Pony yoga
And you said,
routine."
like, her name is Cora,
Yeah.
and she's 5, and
Right.
all that. Yeah.
And the next day,
Yeah.
we got a reply saying, "Hi, Cora. I'm so glad that you enjoy doing yoga." So I'm paraphrasing. I don't have it in front of me.
Yeah.
But hi, Cora. I'm so glad you love doing yoga, and I think you're really gonna like My Little Pony.
Yeah.
And so I got to tell Cora, I was like, Jamie replied.
Yeah.
Jamie sent you a message back, and we read it. It made her whole day. Made her whole day.
She was so excited, and she came running into me. Mommy, Jamie messaged me back.
Yeah.
Like, it was so exciting for her. So, like, that whole business, I guess. What is that? Team or whatever.
Yeah.
And it may really just be like her and her husband, and maybe I don't know who her team is, but they're on top of it, and they are looking for they're really trying to connect with your kids.
Yeah.
They really are. And I think it's very genuine, and it is very nice.
Yeah, for sure.
It's very nice. So there was one point where I posted a picture of Cora doing like one of the warrior poses. And I was just like, we love, and then I tagged like Cosmic Kids Yoga or something like that. And I had several of my mom friends going, where do you find this? Where is this? And I'm like, look on YouTube, Cosmic Kids Yoga. And because they were like, my kids would love this. And she has very much. She loves it. Especially when it's been a day where she's kind of just been kind of sitting around or something like that. If she wants to move around, Cosmic Kids Yoga.
That's what we reach for.
Jamie's the best.
Yeah.
And we very much appreciate her. Very much.
For sure.
And we're going to be tagging her in this. And I really hope she... She's really
wild.
Cool.
This is the first time, like, there's been several times that we've, like, talked about stuff that we reach out to and things. Yeah. It'd be wild to actually, like, make a connection over this.
Yeah.
But...
Oh, can I tell them super quick about our connection?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, you guys, this has nothing to do with children.
You know we love the McElroys.
You know we love those McElboys. We love them so much. Now, Travis and Teresa. Travis is one of the McElroys, and Teresa is his wife. They do a podcast called Bake On, and that has to do with what we call Bake Off, the Great British Baking Show, which is actually Bake Off in Britain. I don't know why there's several names of this, but if you go on Netflix, you can watch the Great British Baking Show. Another thing that Cora has enjoyed watching before.
That's fun for the whole family.
Yeah. The Great British Baking Show. Love it. Love it. So this season, they so what Travis and Teresa do is that they watch.
It's an episode watch podcast.
Yeah, they watch the episode and then they talk about it afterwards. And they only put out this podcast while the season's going on.
Right.
So they just said, like, hey, if you have anything you'd like us to talk about or anything you missed, let us know. Tweet us at us and use the hashtag #BakeOn. So one week I was like, oh, okay. We'll see. Okay. So I decided to, I came into Rich because I don't tweet. Came into Rich and said, hey, would you tell them this, and this? Tweet it to Travis, tweet it to Teresa, put hashtag #BakeOn. And because this is something they didn't mention in the episode, the next episode that came out, they said, and Travis says, oh, by the way, Natalie says, blah, 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 blah.
Natalie had an absolute fit.
Had a fit.
Made her day.
Made my day. I called Rich because he wasn't in the house at the time. I called Rich and I said, they talked about me on the podcast. Like, I was so excited. The next week.
Yep.
And I don't think we've even told anybody else about this.
No, I don't think so either.
No, because I immediately like texted my brother, and because my brother loves the McElroys as well, I texted him and said, they talked about me. The next week, Rich and I happened to be watching Great British Baking Show at the same time.
The new episode.
I usually watch it on my own.
Right. I was on a break.
He was on we were on a break.
Well.
He was on a break from work and he was watching it with me. And I said, hey, could you tweet this to them and we'll just see if they say my name again? Like, that would be so cool. And he said, okay, yeah. And he tweeted and he said, you know what? I'm going to do one from me too. I said, really? If they choose you over me, I'm going to be really, really mad. Like I told him, I said, if they mention Rich and they don't mention Natalie, I'm going to be irritated. They mentioned both
They
of
read
us.
both of our tweets on the show. It was very cool.
It was very cool because Travis goes, oh, and Natalie says this, and he says, oh, and also Rich says this, and this. And we were standing in the kitchen and I did several happy dances.
Yeah. It was a good day.
It was a good day. That's a lot that we're talking about this.
Yeah. No, it wasn't too bad. Okay, so what we'll do is let's take a break in Promoville.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're going to do a blitz on...
We're going to do our best on a blitz.
Yeah. Right after we take a quick pit stop in Promoville.
Promoville.
And we're back from Promoville. Promoville.
Let's get it going because we've got a lot to talk about.
Jumanji.
Jumanji, one of my favorite things in the world.
So I think here's what brought Jumanji, at least into my head. They coincided closely together. And we won't talk about it. I don't remember if we talked about it when it was happening either, but this test footage for like a Robin Williams biopic had come out.
Yeah.
Which was very viral for a while.
Yeah. The guy is incredible.
It's incredible.
We won't go into the whole thing of it, but the guy is incredible.
Yeah. So we had Robin Williams on the brain, I think, is part of it.
Mm-hmm.
I know I did.
Mm-hmm.
And then we happened to be flipping through, was it on Netflix or I don't remember where we watched it.
I don't even remember, honestly.
We were flipping through somewhere and there was Jumanji. And we're like, you know what? Jumanji. We haven't watched Jumanji in a while.
We love some Robin Williams. Love him.
And so we watched.
Love Bonnie Hunt. Love her.
So we watched through Jumanji.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about Jumanji and the world that it inspired.
Yes.
Sorry, I had to stifle a little bit of
you had a bubble in your throat?
A little bit of a bubble. All right.
Really quickly.
Go for it.
Super quickly. I wanted to call you out.
We're going to do this at the top?
Absolutely 100%.
Okay. I think that there are going to be people out in the world who 100% sympathize with me.
And then there will be people who never even considered that this was a possibility.
I'm sorry, you never considered it?
I didn't.
Can I say what the thing is, and then
Please.
You can criticize me?
Please go, yes.
Okay, listen, everyone. I thought Bonnie Hunt and Helen Hunt were sisters.
Yeah. So we're watching the movie, and he says something about, like, I'm Bonnie Hunt, I'm a sister of Helen Hunt, or something like that. Or my sister did the Twister movie, or something like that. And he said it so confidently. And when he says things very confidently, usually, 99% of the time they are correct.
It's just that when I'm wrong, I'm so wrong.
And when he's wrong, he's so wrong. So in my brain went, wait, what? Like, they are not sisters. So very quietly, I looked it up. Very quietly, I was like, are Bonnie Hunt and Helen Hunt sisters? And I never knew that. Like, I looked it up and I was like, babe, I said, I love you very much. But please, they are not sisters. And he had an existential crisis.
Because here's the thing. this is not one of the things. Usually when this happens to me, I've read something and I like remember something like
Right.
put away. This is something that has been in my, I've just
As a
accepted,
fact.
I've just accepted it as true since childhood.
Yeah.
With no basis.
I understand.
They're of an age.
Yes.
Together.
Oh, sure.
They're similar. I think that they're similar enough looking that they could be related.
Yep.
And so it just made sense to me that here are these two actresses.
Did you also look it up after I looked it up?
I did.
Okay. So they're not related.
They're
in
not
any way.
related in any way. But yeah, it's just I've always accepted that these two actresses were related because it seems like they should be.
And after you said that, I was like, okay, I get where you would do that, but I had never ever thought. I mean, it was going to surprise. It's weird because it was going to surprise me that they were sisters.
That's so weird.
But then you were completely confident that they were.
Because why wouldn't they be? They should be. They should be sisters.
Okay, we're done with that. Okay.
Bonnie Hunt's in this movie.
Bonnie Hunt, I absolutely love her. Also, can we talk about baby Kristen Dunst?
Kirsten Dunst.
Kirsten. I always call her Kristen. I'm so sorry. Kirsten Dunst. Baby, before she got kind of...
okay. Before Spider-Man.
She's not my favorite.
While she was still a child. This was made in 1995. And yeah, Robin Williams, like... For me, I think different people will say different things about what Robin Williams' like heyday was. But for me, the mid-90s was Robin Williams' heyday because this was...
Robin Williams' heyday was the movie he was in. To me.
You mean
at the time?
You mean whenever you're seeing a movie with Robin Williams, that was him at the top of his game? Yeah.
Because he was always doing it 150%.
Absolutely.
Robin Williams' heyday was the movie he was in
whatever,
at the time.
It's whatever movie you're watching at the moment. Well, I mean, you're not wrong because the thing is like...
It's always good.
But that's why I'm saying the 90s was such a stretch because there was Hook...
Right.
There was Jumanji. There was Patch Adams.
Yes.
There was...
He could make you laugh and he could make you cry.
Absolutely. I mean, there's other...
Insane actor.
I mean, it's not even just like family movies. It's like Good Morning Vietnam.
Yep.
It's Dead Poet Society.
Yep.
It's all these amazing movies
yep.
that happened in this sort of stretch.
Yeah.
Good Morning Vietnam is I think that's more like maybe early 90s, but I think that's an 80s.
But I'm telling you, any movie he's in was his heyday.
Mrs. Doubtfire.
Yeah.
Come on.
He always did well.
Yeah.
I think.
So this movie, at the moment he was making it, was the best movie he'd ever made. Well,
was he the Bicentennial Man?
Yeah, he was.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
It came into my brain as like he was a robot for a second. And I was like, was he a robot? And he was.
He sure was.
So good.
All right. So quick plot synopsis.
If you haven't seen Jumanji, the original like 90s version,
yeah,
please
get out there.
Stop this podcast and go watch Jumanji.
We do that a lot. We're like, just stop this and go watch it.
Because it's more important for them to watch Jumanji than it is to listen to us talk about Jumanji.
This podcast is more of a service than it is even a review.
It is. We should be being paid by Jumanji.
That's right. Okay, so Robin Williams plays Alan Parrish, who's the son of Sam and Carol Ann Parrish, and they live in Brantford, New Hampshire. I'm not even sure. I don't think Brantford's even a real city, but it's a town in New Hampshire.
You grew up in New Hampshire. You should know all the cities.
I know it's not a city because there's only 13 cities in New Hampshire, and everywhere else you go in New Hampshire is a town. Little slice of
snappage.
Little slice of New Hampshire knowledge for you there.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brantford. It's and they run a shoe factory, so they're like a big, well-to-do family in this little town in New Hampshire because they make all the best shoes in New England.
And they make all the money.
Alan is sort of picked on.
Yep.
Because he's not a super tough guy.
He's bullied because his family is rich. Here's the thing.
Yeah, it doesn't ring true.
I feel like kids get bullied no matter what. Somebody finds something that they don't like about them and then they just decide, I don't like this about you, so I'm going to bully you for it. And
Yeah.
it sucks. Kids are mean.
Yeah. So, I think it's that there's like an extension being put on the factory, and ground has been broken, and Alan is walking around after school hiding from some bullies, and he comes across this.
And you hear the drum beat.
And he finds this old wooden box with a board game. The board game in it, and he takes it home.
Oh, free board game!
Sweet, free board game in the ground. Let's get this bad boy out of here. We should say that the movie opens,
yes,
in like the middle of the Revolutionary War or something,
and two boys are out in the middle of the woods, and they're like, we have to get rid of this, and they bury the board game.
Yeah. And then flash forward to the late 60s when this is happening. And so he takes it home, and he has a fight with his family because his dad thinks he should just be toughen up.
His dad wants him to go to a boarding school.
Yeah. And not like we're sending you away, but it's supposed to be like a prestigious
congratulations,
like,
you get to go to this
we're
boarding
gonna send
school.
you away for a few years.
And he's like, what if I don't want to go to the boarding school? And he's like, you're a parish, you have to go to the boarding school. And mom and dad leave
for some event.
But also in the midst of an argument.
Yeah. And so
they leave this little boy by himself in a giant mansion.
Yeah, they don't even have. It doesn't even seem like they have like a butler or anything. Like no one's watching him.
No butler, no babysitter, no nanny, no nurse, nothing.
He's like 12.
He's 12. I know he doesn't really need like a babysitter, but I mean it's a huge.
It's a big
house.
It's a gigantic house. And then this girl comes over. Who this is the reason that the bullies kind of were after him too. Is like he's friends with this girl. And she's like the popular, like hot middle school girl.
Gross.
What I mean is, that's not what I mean. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that she's like the popular girl.
Yeah.
And he's like friends with her.
She's beautiful. She's tall. She's blonde. She's maybe a little bit older than him. Yeah. And she goes, oh, here's your bike that this guy stole from you. He's a jerk, and this guy didn't want him talking to his girl and all this jazz. It's ridiculous.
And then little baby Robin Williams says, hey, you want to play this old board game?
And she goes, that's stupid. No, I'm not going to. But also yes. Accidentally plays it, which if you watch the movie, you know what we mean.
Hey, guess what? Twist. The board game's magic.
What? The board game's magic. Alan gets sucked into the board game.
Yeah, unlike the second turn.
On the second turn.
Because remember, the bats come out first.
Yes. Oh, the bats happen. He gets sucked into the board game, and then she gets chased away by bats.
Yeah.
And then suddenly, it's 30 years later.
Yeah, flash forward. And we're in the same house. It's being purchased by Kirsten Dunst and her little brother's aunt.
Yeah.
They're wards.
Orphans. They're orphans.
Well, yeah, but I mean their aunt is their guardian.
Yes. And she's wanting to purchase this giant house to
do something with.
I think we're thinking it's like a bed and breakfast or a hotel of some sort or something.
It's a very
like
nice
that.
house, as I said before.
Yeah.
And they're like very sassy children for recent orphans.
Yeah. Little boy doesn't talk.
Not really.
He doesn't speak to people other than his sister.
Right.
Yeah.
And so they have a hard time of it too. But then they find this old wooden board game
in the attic, and they hear it going boom 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 boom
yeah.
boom 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 boom.
Jumanji chooses its players. This is something that's important to realize about really the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's important to know that like Jumanji doesn't. It's not like you open the game and like, oops, you're trapped playing Jumanji.
Jumanji is intelligent.
Jumanji chooses its players.
Yeah. Yes.
You don't choose.
So they start playing the game and realize. Okay, so when Alan was pulled into the board game, somebody else had to roll a 5 or 8.
Correct.
A 5 or 8 to get him out of the board game.
Yep.
So Peter, who is now the new little boy,
Yep.
rolls a
5, I think.
A 5 or an 8. And suddenly they have a full-grown Robin Williams, who believes he is still in the jungle, who has had to survive for 30 years by himself in a jungle full of beasts and people that are hunting him.
Yeah.
And he comes out not knowing what day it is.
Yeah.
Not knowing what year it is.
Yeah.
Thinking that his mom and dad would be still at this house that he pops back out in. And he realizes in that moment, we're going to have to play this game. We have to play the rest of the game. And to play the rest of the game, we have to get Sarah.
Well, I wanted to, yes, we get to that point.
Yeah.
It takes a while to get, like, he
I don't
ends
think
up,
we said the girl's name, Sarah at
Sarah
the beginning.
is Bonnie Hunt's character,
Yeah.
who we'll meet in a minute. But we did have this funny moment, a moment I hadn't considered until this time that we watched Jumanji, which is if Peter hadn't rolled
a 5 or an 8,
he
would have stayed.
The game would have been over.
Oh, because there would be nobody else to take the turn.
Right.
The next
Which is
turn.
a fatal flaw in Jumanji, if you think about it.
Well, we don't know, do we? Jumanji's magic. Maybe it would have figured something out to do.
Maybe. It's like
or maybe it would have said, next, you get to go again because the next player is in the jungle.
No, but the next player is Sarah. That's the problem.
Oh, does Sarah go first?
Sarah, that's the thing. They go, okay, well, you're in. And he goes,
Yes.
here's the dice. He goes, it's not my turn. It's Sarah's turn.
Right, exactly. Yes.
For some reason, something came from the park.
Oh, dear. Okay, can you put it just like in the bathroom trash can, please? Yes. Bathroom trash can.
Thank you.
I see it.
So
I'm
proud
so
of you.
proud of you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Cora had to come in and also relive her glory days.
Which is today.
Which is today. She had her last soccer game, and she got a little trophy that says most valued
participant.
Yeah. She has a little trophy that she's been carrying around today. She's very proud of herself.
Yeah. It was a fun season.
It was fun.
Yeah.
It was so good for her. Okay, let's continue.
So yeah, it's Sarah's turn.
Sarah's turn.
And so Peter hadn't rolled. If Peter rolled a 4, his piece would have moved.
If Jumanji had said, you need Sarah, blah, 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 to continue this game.
I don't know.
We don't know, do we?
We don't. Maybe Jumanji made the 5 happen.
Ooh.
Which is not fair.
No, that's not fair.
That's
cheating.
not a good board game.
No.
You know what? Jumanji, it's a bad board game.
So they realize they need Sarah. They go to Sarah's old house as far as Alan can remember.
Yeah.
And Sarah is actually still living there. And it's Bonnie Hunt. And we love her. I've always loved Bonnie Hunt. She is not the sister of Helen Hunt,
not
if
at
anybody was wondering.
Don't even think about it.
Then they really have to convince her because she has believed that the whole thing that happened to her as a child, Alan getting sucked in by the board game and the bats coming after her, was a delusion.
Yeah.
She's been to therapy. She's been to psychiatrists, and all of them have said, this is a delusion that you had. There was no such, not that there was no such person, but
it's just a coincidence that Alan also disappeared after the thing you claim happened.
Alan was supposed to, the urban legend was that Alan was killed by his parents.
Right.
And buried in the walls of the house or something like that, because nobody knew what happened to Alan, not even his parents.
Except for the hobo. The hobo didn't know what happened, but remember, Alan goes to the shoe factory, which is like defunct and not being used anymore.
Hobo's
there's a hobo
not
living
the
in.
thing we say
I'm
anymore.
sorry. There was a person experiencing homelessness in the.
What do we say? Transient?
No, I don't think even that is okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
The thing to do is to not identify them as a type of person. So it's a person.
They're just a person living in the abandoned shoe factory.
Right. and he's like, what happened here? And this guy's like, well, after young Alan Parrish died, his father did so. He knows the whole story.
Yeah.
He's like Alan Parrish disappeared, and he goes and
his
he's
father
like,
went mad looking for him.
Right, and he's like,
used up
people
all
think
his money to try to find him.
So he tells the story that like people think that the Parishes did something to Alan. He's like, no way, no one saw Alan.
They just died of
Or
broken hearts.
no one
basically.
saw Sam. I think that was the dad's name. No one, like Sam couldn't live without his son, and then he went out
Right.
looking for him, and he spent all of his fortune trying to find him.
So
yeah.
then we go like, oh, actually awesome parents.
Yeah, actually better
very,
parents than we
very
thought.
kind parents. Blah 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 blah. We shouldn't take up too much time with this.
Well,
We're gonna have to save the other Jumanjis for another episode. I feel like.
Well, I think we can. Yeah, I think we can maybe do a deep dive on them another time. But I think it's worth talking about the world building.
Okay, great. Go.
So we'll do a little bit of a skipsy here, a little skipsies.
Mm-hmm.
They played the game, and more things from Jumanji are coming out into our world.
You can only get rid of the things that happen from Jumanji if you finish the game of Jumanji.
Right, and that's an assumption.
Nobody says that.
that we make. That's an assumption that they make in the movie.
It's not a game rule, but it's just like you got to finish the game.
Right. And so, but it's reasonable because like terrible things keep happening. But if we can just power through and get to the end of the game, it'll be over. And at the worst case scenario, things will stop coming out of the game. Like,
yeah,
that's the worst case, is that at least there won't be more new things coming out.
Well, there are only more new things when they roll, though.
Right, but that's my point. Is like when the game's over.
But if they just stopped in the middle.
No, but
they didn't know when they ended that all the things would get sucked back
right.
into the game.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Is that even if they didn't know that
if
everything was going
in the middle.
Even if they didn't know that everything was going to go away, they could like hope that was the case. And if they were wrong, well, at least there was no more moves to make. Like,
right. Okay. At the should we just say at the end?
Well, really quickly, I want to point out that and what's his name? Hang on, let me get. I'm using the mouse like that's connected to this computer.
Goober.
Where is he? Why isn't he on here?
I'm sure he's on there. Who are you talking about? The hunter guy?
Yeah. So okay, here's the point. The hunter comes out, and the hunter is played by the same guy that plays Alan's dad.
Right. Hold on. We can.
He's not
get
on
it.
here.
No, we can get it. Go down to.
It's not. No, the cast doesn't have. The cast has 6 people on it, on IMDb.
No,
here we go.
Hyde. Jonathan
Van
Hyde.
Pelt. Okay, gotcha. I just didn't see him. Jonathan Hyde, who, for me, the main thing that I know him from is that he is the butler from Richie Rich. I don't know if you know that.
Okay, I wasn't as into Richie Rich as you were.
Well, he had my name.
Well, I know. So Rich, I think you often got called Richie Rich, right?
I did, and that wasn't fun.
Well, so what year was that? What year was Richie Rich?
96, something like that.
So, like when you were that age,
yeah,
and your name was Rich,
yeah,
and people called you Richie Rich,
yeah,
and it wasn't so fun.
Yeah. It's never fun. This is an aside. It's never fun to have a nickname that you didn't like participate in getting.
I never had nicknames, but okay.
Oh. Well, anyway, I think it's cool that the guy who plays Van Pelt, which is the name of the hunter that comes out of Jumanji to chase Alan, is played by the same guy who is the dad. There's like a symbolism there.
Yes, sure.
And even in the script, there's symbolism because there's this moment at the end, and we can skip to the end.
Skip to the end.
So more and more things. Oh man, I think I just clipped that. More and more things keep coming out of the game. And they get to the end, and the hunter tracks him down. Sorry for the interruption.
Rich has an injury.
A grievous injury. So there's this moment at the end where finally Alan's been running from the hunter this whole time, right?
Right.
And finally the hunter gets him, and he's like, "Go ahead and run. Like I'm that's my thing. I chase you.
Yeah.
And finally, Alan goes, "No, I'm done running from you." And he goes, "All right," finally acting like a man, which is the last thing that Alan's dad said to him. Is
Which
that you need to
be more of a man.
More of a man.
Yeah.
And so Alan, like, he stands up, and it's a cool moment. He's like, stands up, and he's like, "Drop whatever you're holding." It's the dice. He drops the dice.
And he rolls exactly what he needs.
He rolls exactly what he needs to land his piece right in the middle of the board. And he goes, "Jumanji." And that begins the terrifying tornado.
Absolutely terrifying. Very scary.
Yeah, a
Creepy.
terrifying tornado of everything going back into the game.
Yeah.
And little Alan and little what's her face Sarah are back in 1969.
Yeah, so it completely reverts back to when it began. Alan as a young boy, Sarah as a young girl, they're together in the house. His dad walks in saying he had forgotten something because, remember, they were going to like some sort of gala or event or something.
Yeah, he was supposed to give a speech, so he forgot his notes.
He forgot his notes. And when he walks in, Alan just gives him a big hug and is just like, "Love you, Dad," you know? And he's like,
Yeah.
"Love you too, son. I really do." Like, they have this moment. Then they go and dump the game in a river.
Yeah, they put some like weights on it.
Rocks.
Yeah.
I think they weight it down with rocks and then dump it in the river, and they're just like, "We hope this doesn't get to anybody else." And then we kind of skip forward.
We skip back to 1995.
And the house is full. It's alive. It's a Christmas party. It's Robin Williams and Bonnie Hunt. Bonnie Hunt is pregnant.
Married.
They're married.
They own the shoe place now.
Yeah, everything. They ended up hiring the two kids that they have actually, quote, never met.
Yeah, their parents didn't hire the kids.
They didn't hire the kids. No, it's not that kind of shoe factory. But they hired.
Oh my goodness!
They hired the dad
Yeah.
to do something, and
like marketing, I think.
Yeah, and the dad's like, "Well, actually, we're going to go do this thing that they know actually led to their death." And they're like, "No, don't do that. We really need you to just start working," you know.
Which is another moment where we were like, it's good. The thing is that they know that they're saving their lives.
Right.
But also, it would feel really weird to Kirsten
Super
Dunst's dad
Yeah.
to be like, "No, we agreed. I have a pre-planned vacation, and you already told me I could do it. And now you're saying cancel your vacation so that we can start getting to work on these shoes."
And they take it very nicely. They go, "Oh, okay, yeah, we're excited to get started too," stuff like that. And
but like in the modern work world, you couldn't do that.
It ends up being very nice, very happy, very everything. And
Perfect.
then suddenly we are. I think they do a credit scene.
It's right before the credits roll. It kind of goes to black, and then it comes back up. And Jumanji's like on the shores of like somewhere.
And there's
another country.
Yeah, there's another language that's spoken of. Two kids are walking by, and they go, "Do you hear that?" And then into
roll
the movie.
credits.
Yeah,
and it's great. It's a lot of fun. It's a romp for the whole family.
It's a
there's
romp.
funny monkey jokes through most of it.
The monkeys,
hilarious monkey jokes.
I could take or leave of the monkeys. Honestly,
the monkeys are a big part of it. Actually, come to think of it,
the monkeys are actually a very big part of it, and that's like probably my least favorite part.
Yeah,
is the monkeys and what the monkeys bring.
Yeah, the
whole monkey thing.
The monkey thing.
Do you want to keep going?
So here's what we'll do. We're not going to go all the way into everything.
Oh man, but I love it.
It's really good.
This is, y'all.
We'll do a Jumanji sequel episode.
Okay, I would like that because it only gets better.
It truly does. Jumanji is great.
It truly does. And usually with these sorts of movies, you go like, "Oh, the original," and then they just kept going and for the money or whatever, Really, honestly to goodness, I have enjoyed every single Jumanji movie.
Totally.
I have, completely.
But I do want to just quickly talk about the two things.
Okay.
The one is that it's natural to think of the sequels to Jumanji as being Jumanji Welcome to the Jungle and Jumanji The Next Level, the two movies that came out recently, like in the last 5 years. But in reality, it's not truly a sequel, but it's a Wikipedia refers to it as a spiritual successor to Jumanji.
And I also love it.
It's a great movie. It's terribly underrated.
Terribly.
Zathura, A Space Adventure.
Love it.
Came out 10 years after Jumanji. And it's basically a reimagining of Jumanji, just in a different setting. Instead of being set in a jungle, it's set in space.
That's Josh Hutcherson. I'm sorry. Hutcherson or Hutchinson?
It is Josh Hutcherson.
And also, is it Dax Shepard?
Dax Shepard.
Oh my goodness, I can't believe I remembered.
Also, Kristen Stewart.
Seriously?
Is like the sister. Also,
No way.
Frank Oz, the voice of Yoda, as a robot.
I did not realize. Okay, I remembered Josh Hutcherson? Sorry, I can't say his name. And Dax Shepard, but I did not remember Kristen Stewart, which is also not one of my favorites.
Did I just say a super weird thing that I'm going to get cut out? I know Frank Oz is... He's the voice of Yoda, right? Yeah, thank goodness. Man, for just a second, I had a... I was gonna...
It's okay.
No, I just had this moment where I was like, oh no.
You just said the wrong thing.
Did I say the wrong thing?
Like
Because
Helen Hunt and Bonnie Hunt are sisters.
I think that really has shaken my knowledge of who people are. Because I was like, Frank Oz. I was like, no, he's definitely the Muppet guy, but he was Yoda too, right? Oh no.
Okay. Zathura. Yes, another board game that goes terribly awry.
Yeah.
And
in fun, different ways.
In space.
And in space.
It's Jumanji in space.
In space.
And it's something, I mean, seriously, we need to look this movie up and watch it again. Because it's actually super fun.
But what I like, and then the second thing I want to say about these sequels, just with broad strokes, is that what I like a lot about the new Jumanji movies is that they are actually set in the same world. So like
and they are consistently cast.
So when those characters go into Jumanji,
yep,
they go to the same Jumanji that Alan Parrish went to.
Yes.
Exactly. And there are little Easter
Hints.
eggs of Alan Parrish and his time that was spent in Jumanji.
Having been there, yes.
Super cool.
So good.
Yeah.
And I love, like I just said, I love that that they were able to use the same people cast wise.
Yeah.
Can we do another episode that's about those sequels in particular?
We'll do a Jumanji sequel episode super quick. Last thing.
Okay.
There was also a Jumanji TV show. There was an animated series.
Did not see that one.
It ran for 3 entire years.
Really? Okay. What's it called?
Jumanji. Full stop. Jumanji.
It's just called Jumanji?
Yeah, I guess so. It might have been Jumanji the animated series, but on here it's just called Jumanji.
Okay.
While it borrowed heavily from the film, incorporating various characters, locations, and props, the series retcons rather than using the film storyline. It changes it. So it's
I'm not into that.
It's not canon. And then there was a Jumanji board game.
Obviously. In 2020, when all the stuff was going down, I went to Target and I took a picture of a full shelf that had just Jumanji board games on it. I took a picture and I posted it on Facebook, and it was like, this is not the year to be giving out Jumanji games to a bunch of people. We can't handle this in 2020.
Yeah. There was also, it looks like, a very bad PC game called Jumanji, a Jungle Adventure Game Pack.
Oh, dear.
That also came out in 1996 to, like, kind of go along with the movie, and everything I'm seeing seems like it was not great. It was, basically mini games. It was like you were playing Jumanji. So
We
Not even,
honestly were trying to get all of the Jumanjis into this movie.
it was never going to happen.
And it wasn't, because I love the Jumanji movies.
They're great.
And
Could watch them anytime.
I wanted to give it more of the time that it needs to talk about than to just rush through all 3 movies.
Yeah.
So I feel like we even rushed through kind of a little bit the original.
Yeah.
But it's fine. That's what it is. But we've done the original. Next episode that we put out, let's talk about the 2 sequels.
And Zathura.
Let's watch Zathura. Let's watch Zathura and talk. Do we have time?
I think so.
We'll see.
I think we can, as much as they are their own 2 movies,
Yeah.
I think that we can combine the 2 Jumanji sequels.
Okay. So, before you hear our next episode next week, please go watch the Jumanji sequels with The Rock.
Yeah.
Man, I love him.
You need to, yeah. So your homework is both of the Jumanji sequels.
It's called Jumanji. It's called Jumanji into, what's it called?
Jumanji Welcome to the Jungle.
Welcome to the Jungle.
Jumanji The Next Level.
The Next Level. And then Zathura.
And Zathura, I don't know where you're going to find Zathura.
I honestly don't know either. We're going to probably at the end of this go and see if we can find it at all. Zathura, A Space Adventure. All of these are Jumanji, basically sequels. Check it out.
Here's the thing. This
Go.
is important. I know we're drawing this out, but I just want to say that I didn't know this until just now when I clicked into Zathura. Zathura is a book. Jumanji is a book. Both are written by the same person.
Oh.
So that's why they're spiritually related.
Gotcha. They're not the same universe, but they are the same concept.
Right.
Okay.
Although maybe they're the same universe.
We don't know.
There's no reason to say they can't be.
Yeah, space and Jumanji.
So Zathura and the 2 Jumanji sequels for next time.
Yep.
This has been another episode of Not Suitable for Adults. We really appreciate you listening in. And if you have something, we haven't done this in a while. If you have a show or something that you think would be great for us to talk about that we haven't covered before, shoot us an email at notforadultscast@gmail.com or tweet us at notforadultscast. And no joke, we will do the thing you say, maybe. Because unless it's like super inappropriate. If it's not a good show for kids, we're not going to do it.
Yeah.
But if we have it, but in general, like if you're a parent and you're like, I have this great show that they haven't talked about, they've got to talk about this show. We will go and find it and watch it, and then we will talk about it. Yeah. So send that to us. Thanks.
We're gonna do our best to get this Jumanji thing.
Oh, we're gonna nail it.
I just started a new job.
Yeah.
So prayers and good vibes are appreciated, and
we're figuring out schedules.
We're figuring out schedules. We're getting it. I'm worked on. We're doing it.
We're doing it.
We're doing it.
It's happening.
Yep.
Thank you, Shad Worrell, who doesn't listen.
Shad.
I don't think Shad listens to the show.
I don't know. We can say thank you anyway.
But we did get him to make our theme music, which is our unique theme music, and we love it. If you like Shad's work, or if you have a podcast and you would like a quick jingle made for your podcast, check him out. He's at soundcloud.com/shad-worrell, and there will be a link to his stuff in the show notes. Mm-hmm. It's been another.
I love how you sigh before.
I just have the sigh is to begin to think about what the end of this episode will be like.
Go for it.
I guess it's just that whether you're playing video games or if you're playing a board game, we go out in the world and you're finding something to do. Don't let the game roll that 5 for you.
Wow.
Just never forget.
Wow. 5 or an 8.
Or an 8.
I don't understand your metaphor.
You're the boss.
So watch or play.
Yeah.
Whatever you want, but not Jumanji, because it will suck you into the game.
You're in the game.
You're in the game.
Okay, bye.
Bye.